transactional relationships. That's what a lot of celebrity relationships are at the end of the day, whether people like to admit that or not. So here comes the article, okay, in a little bit. It'll pop up soon. I'm seeing an increase in people who dated high profile celebrities whose name was only as big as the person they were dating. And I won't say other names. And then when those relationships end, they want to go on vlogs, podcasts, television shows. And don't get me wrong, these aren't relationships that recently ended. Sometimes it can be, well, some were recent, fairly recent. Others could be in 5, 10, 15 years ago, how they survived that person. But it's weird how when the transaction was taking place, when you were with that person, you had no problem with it. Right? So here it is. She dated Kanye West. And by the time she started dating him, he was already called Yeh, which is a derivative of Jehovah, which is God, and Jesus, which, come on, Jesus Christ. You're dating a man who puts himself on the same level as God and Jesus Christ. By the time you met him, you really thought this was going to go smoothly? Here's the thing, because I read that portion of the article where she said he went behind her back and told people they were in a relationship. So I can see how she looked at it and was like, wow, he used me as a pawn. So I understand why she said that, okay? Because it's possible that just coming off of that bad marriage, he had to prove that he could get another woman fast, and this is what happened. My issue is that since that relationship ended, she's the one doing all the talking and Kanye's not confirming or denying anything. Pardon the noise in the background. These people are going to be noisy and they're going to be disrespectful, and ain't no way to get around their disrespect. So if you're doing all the talking and he isn't, where are we going with this? Because you're the one who was defending him. Oh, he wouldn't hurt a fly. Oh, he's this, this, this. And even after it ended, you just kept on talking about him after the transaction, whatever that was between you two, went sour or sweet or amicable or however it went. So my question would be, why is this man rent-free in your head after the transaction? And see, I'm talking to you all here. If you are a young woman who's watching this, it's not a good look to date someone and when they did not abuse you physically, to go into public talking when you willfully signed up for certain things. Oh, this noise is getting on my nerves. These people want to wait till now to be noisy. Because what happens is because you took the gifts from that person at the time. You show no signs of distress at the time. If that man is more famous than you were, it's going to look like you were bitter and dejected, even if that's not the case, truth behind the scenes. The transaction has ended, either way it goes. And it looks terrible when you are still discussing the transaction. I would advise like I said, because Mr. Burns and I talk about transactional people all the time. We don't often talk about how both people enter the transaction. But once it's ended, okay? And it's futile to keep chasing that ideal and continue talking about something that's already done and over with. See, the number one thing women like this miss is if you plan to ever get married again, a man always have these interviews, these tapes, these podcasts. It's online forever to look back on and decide if you're even worth their time to deal with. Because the classy thing to do, regardless of your gender, is just to move on and let people be. especially when no real abuse took place. Oh, because they didn't pay you as much as you thought they should, because you didn't get as much endorsements as you thought. You didn't get as many clothing deals or modeling gigs, or they made you go Dutch on dates, things like this. The transaction is over. Move on, find a healthy way to deal with it, and go on with your life.